Hi, how are you? This is Namjoon Cho again, and then we're very honored to introduce the project Chak Cha, led by the Professor D.H. Park. And he's going to give you a talk about creation of momentary value for society impact. This program is very exciting in a sense that they have a very interesting program they developed using the inspiration of engineering valuation calculation and so on, and this collaboration with Kenya, South Korea, and Texas collaboration. We certainly want to join this effort through the Engineering Without Border program, as well as our society, the Korea Scientists and Engineering Foundation. And he's gonna give you a talk about how this creation of a momentary value for society impact that's directly gonna apply to what we are doing as an engineer platform. So please welcome Professor D.H. Park.
Hello everyone, I'm D.H. Park. I'm professor at Handong Global University. I teach Global Problem Solving Program, which is through which students can learn how to solve global problem by participating in a project to solve a particular problem. Today I'm going to present Chak Cha, and let me show my PowerPoint. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, Chak Cha is an experiment. The hypothesis is a monetary value can be created if you solve a property problem for tea pickers. We are working on this project whether this hypothesis is true or false. Okay, would you care for a cup of tea? Chak Cha. Chak Cha means tea in Korean and Chinese. Chak means good in Korean. So Chak Cha means good tea. And tea is made out of this green leaf from Camellia sinensis called peckle. How many peckles a tea picker should pluck to make a cup of tea? About 30 peckles. To make 100 grams of tea, about 1,200 times. To make 10 kilograms of tea, she needs to pluck $120,000. A skillful tea pickers, hardworking tea pickers can pluck about 120,000 peckers, which is a lot. But by doing that, they make less than $5 a day. What about the cost of tea? To buy a cup of tea, you might pay about $5. The tea cost is less than about 10%, 50 cents. But how much does it go to tea picker? Less than 1 cent, 0.22 cents. And I have researched in various ways to find out, to make this table. This table is about how the price move from the tea in Kenya to the tea made tea in advanced countries. In the farming areas, the farmer need to hire tea pickers or they have to pluck the tea by themselves. The cost for tea plucking is about $44. And to prune 4 cents, actually not $44, sorry, 44 cents. And pruning 4 cents, tipping, weeding, fertilizers, and they have to pay tea cess, which is a kind of tax, and over the cost, and it'll cost them 72 cents to sell the green leaves to the tea factory at $2.45 to make $1.73. And the factory manufacture the tea and sell the tea to the broker at $2.81. And there is a special auction market in Mombasa in Kenya, which is the largest export port And Kenya is actually the largest tea exporting country in the world. And they export the tea at $3. And then it goes to packaging company, it becomes $15, and it moves through the custom clearance and transportation, and then it becomes $20 and go to the wholesale market, and they sell to the retailers at $50. And then consumers has to pay about $100 per kilogram of tea, which is a very long way. And now I'd like you to listen to this video. This is a story about Terry, the first tea picker I have met 3 years ago in Kenya.
I was born back in 1998 by my mom, Rose Mahiga, and at the age of 2 months, she left me with my grandma, Teresa Wangeshi, Irongo. It was not easy because the only thing my grandma used to depend on was tea leaves. In Gitugi Primary School, getting food to take to school, it wasn't easy. So I remember I went with a new pair of shoes in school, and I lost it the first day in school. I did my studies and completed my Omagana Girls, and I had to take, it was not easy. I could go home for 3,000, which was not available, spend the whole 3 months, that's 1 term at home. So going to school, we had to do a fundraising. It wasn't easy. People contributed money, inhalers, I'm asthmatic. And my granny at that time, she could not pick tea because the same rainfall and the cold in there made her get a chronic disease, that's arthritis. So even today, she can't pick tea leaves. She uses a walking stick to walk from where she is. I have a son. I had to look for other means to get my school fees, of which I got this man who said to me, I'll pay your school fees when you do this and that. So I got a son. I love him so much, my son. But where is the man now? He never supported me. I still had to go back to the tea leaves. So one day, I'm hoping that this thing is going to come to an end, help these people who pick tea, including me, the people in our village, make their lives better, make their dream come true. The children going to school with no struggles. They can feed well, they can dress well, school well, and have a better life. They can be proud of what they are doing, getting better payments, and getting good quality tea in Kenya. I would really love to see the world come taste our tea.
Okay, and actually there are many countries who grow tea trees to make tea to export. And India, Kenya, Sri Lanka, Malawi, Indonesia, there is one common features that there is a serious undernutrition is going on in these areas. And there are 2 particular phenomena. One is stunting, the other is child mortality. And actually, the child's mortality under the age of 5, certain regions can go up to 15%, and stunting ratio can go up to like 50%, which is appalling figures. And please take a look at this PECO, the one bird and two leaves and picked by a tea picker, if you take a close look, and if you really look at closely the hands of tea picker, the fingernails, the condition of this tea picker is not proper and fit to process a food. The teas are made out of these green leaves, and there is no washing or cleaning process whatsoever. As soon as the tea picked delivered to the factory, they lose no time to dry this tea without cleaning. And this is a kind of problem for every tea. Any tea you will meet in the high street will be made by somebody picking the tea trees with the hands like this. And this problem, the poverty problem of tea pickers, I have studied in many ways, including history. And I realized that this poverty problem has been there for last 5,000 years. And the countries that producing tea has been changing from China to India, Sri Lanka, finally to Kenya. But the problem of tea pickers, the poverty problem is common. And the pickers are paid their wages depending on the amount of green tea leaves they have plucked. They normally get $1 to $4 on a work day. They don't work every day because you cannot pick tea every day, because there needs to be interval of about 2 weeks at least in between the tea plucking season. And there is a high incidence of medical problems faced by plantation workers as they are exposed to a large amount of pesticide like DDT, which are banned in consumer countries but freely used in developing countries. And very large number of children work in the plantation alongside their parents, as they rarely have access to schooling, and without schooling there is little hope that the children will do anything else but follow in the footsteps of their parents. According to India's National Crime Record Bureau, a child goes missing in India every 8 minutes, and more than a third are never found. The houses they're living in are almost very tiny and can hardly contain a family with children. This forces most of them to leave their family in the rural areas. This kind of loneliness provides a perfect chance for dangerous sex activities. In Kenya, some of female tea pickers moonlight as a sex worker to pay rent, feed, and clothe families. Undernutrition plagues the majority of producers in the major producing countries. Unremitting undernutrition leads to a vicious cycle of undernourished tea families over generations. Tea pickers cannot escape from this trap by themselves at all. And Sophia, she's a tea lover, and she has a problem too. She doesn't know what is good for her. Tea is available for Sophia is blended tea. Most of teas you can find is blended, as many as 20 different teas, and there is not much traceability. And it's unethical, unfair marker for tea producing countries, and tea pickers are in a vicious poverty cycle, unhygienic, and not fresh, because it takes about 6 months to get processed and to be delivered to the consumer countries. And weak inventory control, and finally the problem can be some that is not very much traceable. Since tea is a food, Sophia wants the hygiene of food handle, but these kind of food safety measures is not going to be done by these tea pickers. in many countries. So tea lovers who cannot find great teas at reasonable price, but also they want to buy some teas made without exploiting tea pickers. Retailers has problem too because they cannot source great teas at reasonable price, and they feel guilty by selling tea made by exploiting tea pickers, and they cannot source good tea called, they call it like specialty teas in a small volume at reasonable price. And how we can improve the quality of lives of tea pickers? Currently, the poverty wage is common practice, and unhealthy tea pickers are many. And because they are not very healthy, so the mistakes at work is very common, and undernutrition is prevalent phenomenon, and stunting of 31 to 42% is common. Child mortality under age of 5 is 5 to 15%, which is not acceptable. And hygiene of tea pickers are neglected, and there is no adequate access to toilet, no adequate access to safe water, and in certain countries like India, open defecation is also very common. And we want to change the situation into this, at least this level. Living wage, we need to pay them living wages so they can become economically independent. And we need to have healthy tea pickers. Then they will be more productive and efficient and improve nutrition. And we need to achieve at least, we need to lower down the stunting rate below 25% and child mortality below 5%. And we need a better hygiene to the level of food handler. So we need to provide adequate access to toilets and safe water and better working environment. And we need to provide them with good education on hygiene and sanitation at least. And current global value chain of tea industries like this, quite long. And it takes about 6 months for made tea to be shown on the retail shelf so that consumers can buy. And if you analyze the global value chains in tea industries, you will see that there is not much value is being created by production in developing countries. So most of the values will go to R&D, design and marketing, and post-sale retail services. But if you do the same analysis just after the Industrial Revolution, the most of value was enjoyed by manufacturers, because then at that time the countries like UK, Germany, France, they are the manufacturing countries. Since they have the power, they could get the most out of it. And the colonized countries they have to purchase those products made by colonizing countries. So I have noticed that this smile curve can be, it has been changed by the people with power. But I think if you really understand the smile curve should be flat. So we should make a very flat curve. And after some rigorous research, we found secret to solve the problems. We found 3 secrets. One is living wages. Without paying living wages, you cannot expect clean teas from tea pickers. You cannot force them to clean their hands while they cannot find clean waters to drink. So unless you treat as you want to be treated, they will not pick the trees with clean hands. You have to treat them first. So we decide to provide living wages, and we decide to treat the tea pickers as human. Unless they regain their lost esteem, they will not clean their hands and to pick the tea with clean hands. So we have to help them to regain their esteem first. And first step toward that is paying them living wage. And second secret we found is single estate tea. You know, by blending 20 different teas, you can get very standardized taste of tea. But this is a very stupid way to do it. Think of wines. Think of French wines. There are so many different wines, different terroir, different cultivar, different style, different year. But if you blend it, suppose if you blend 20 different wines, no matter how expensive they are, if you blend them, you will have a very mediocre quality wines. We are doing the same thing for tea, which is very stupid way to do it. So instead of blending them, I want to split them out. So then we can get unique teas from a small tea garden or village reflecting terroir and climate conditions. And so, and we can create, we need to co-create by estate owners, because Kenyan peoples, they didn't know how to drink tea because it wasn't their favored beverage. And Kenya didn't have tea until they were colonized by British people. Until before the British people forced them to change the jungle into tea garden. We found another secret. Currently, the teas are blended. Suppose you have wines, very good wines from France, very expensive wines. You just bought 20 expensive wines. And suppose you blend it together. What do you want to get? Very mediocre wines, cheap wine. That's what has happened to tea. When Europeans found tea, they didn't know how to appreciate tea. So they decide to blend them to make a very standardized tea, because since Europeans didn't know how to appreciate tea at that time, because they didn't know about anything about tea. So the merchant didn't want to educate the European consumers about the different style, uniqueness of each different tea from each different regions. They just want to make a very standardized commodity so that they can sell in scalable way. So they blended them. So I found this as a second secret. So if you split them up, you can have a beautiful, unique teas. And in Kenya, there is 300,000 tea farms. And each region is very different. So in theory, we can make 300,000 different specialty tea. And we have found just one village called Tumoi Village, and I have worked with Boaz, the owner of the tea factory, to create a very unique tea, which is the Chakan Black. And I hope you can enjoy it. And this is a tea, it's so great. So we should create single estate tea together with the estate owners, and we have to make it very ethically made and to be processed by the best practice. Since the Kenyan people didn't know anything about tea before the British people forced them to cut down the trees and to grow tea trees and pick tea leaves, they were forced to do the labor. They never learned how to enjoy the tea. So I was really surprised to find out that. So I had to bring a tea master to Kenya, and we made the tea, and we served the tea with the Kenyan tea and served them. The Kenyan people were so pleasantly surprised by the quality of tea. So we made them to appreciate the beautiful taste of the Kenyan tea by Kenyan people. So we helped them to make a great teas. So somehow we done it. And also I had to work very hard with the Boaz to increase the level of the hygiene toward the hygiene level of food handlers, of their tea factories and of their tea gardens. And third secret I found is, we can create a new global value chain. You don't have to rely on existing one. We can simply make very shorter and faster through this intermediation, wiping out all the middlemen, and to be more fair global value chain and very traceable through farm to cup online platform. So this is how we have done it. Very short, smart global value chain. Farmers they pick the tea with clean hands, and the factory manufacture at very clean environment and package them, and consumers can buy from online tea store, chakancha.com, and DHL will deliver the tea from Kenya to the consumers. And if you do that, then the very long supply chain will be shortened like this. And this is some kind of hypothetical calculations. So retail consumers doesn't have to pay higher price. They can still pay the $100 for 1 kilogram black tea, but we can triple the wage levels of the tea pluckers, along with every laborers who is involved with this tea farming will get 3 times higher labor charges, and then the farmers will have a higher margins. And even though if we just suppose we have to pay like $45 to DHL for the shipment, we still can make about $10 of margins. So Chakancha has been created. The Chakancha is single origin tea. It is clean tea and fresh and made with living wage. And actually, we are going to do more than paying the living wages, because when we calculated this impact table, Suppose one typicals can pick 15 kilograms of green leaves, and that will be transformed into 3 kilograms of black tea. And suppose they work like 15 days, a month, and then they can, one typical can make 45 kilograms of black tea. And suppose we are selling the tea very good, since it's very good quality tea, we can sell the one tea pack, which is 60 grams, at $20. And then the sales revenue will be $15,000. And we are going to give 5% as donations. 5% of sales will be given to the tea pickers. And out of the $100, out of this 5%, bonus to tea pickers will be paid about $50. Since the BOAS has been treating the tea pickers relatively very well compared to other tea factories, he's been paying like $100 per month, which is about 6-7% higher than the other factories. So if you pay $50 more, then the tea pickers will start to get $150, which is about the reasonable level of living wage. Even though it looks so tiny to you, but for Kenyan people living in a village, $150, they can still get by with this level. And then even though we pay $50 out of $750 of donation, there will be $700 will left. This money will go into the village development fund. And suppose there are 12 tea pickers working toward this program, and this number will increase to the sales revenue will go up to $180,000. 5% donation will become $9,000. And the tea pickers will get $600 more salary, but they still have $8,400 of money per month to use for the development of their own village. And tea pickers will become change agents of the village. And tea pickers will decide what to do with the budget. And I think they can change whole village. And GPS lab students will help them because we can meet them over Zoom. So we have been doing this. So we have been communicating with the BOAS and tea pickers via Zoom, and it has been working very well, very nicely. That's how we could come to the current stage. And we're going to upgrade the Wi-Fi system, and then there will be a weekly Zoom meetings with GPS lab and tea pickers. And tea lovers can also participate in this meeting. So some of the tea lovers will render pro bono services to help tea pickers build their own village. So this is how it works. Customers will pay money with love through Chakancha, and tea pickers will provide tea with love. Then direct relationship between customers and tea pickers will be established. And this is current our Kickstarter campaign for Chakancha. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Tumoi Tea Farms. Nestled in the rolling Nandi Hills of Kenya, Tumoy Tea Farms has been in the Kata family for generations, and other members of the Tumoy community come here to work hard and provide for their families. Despite Kenya being the world's largest tea exporter, the tea pickers of Tumoy have been making unlivable wages for years. And that's where we come in. Cha Kan Cha is an international collaboration between Kenya, Korea, and Texas to redistribute funds to these workers while distributing high-quality black tea to you and to me using innovative new logistics. But we need your help to make this happen. By supporting our Kickstarter, you bring Tumoy truly livable wages, educational opportunities, stronger Wi-Fi connection, and any other community needs we can help them achieve. That's the power of a good cup of tea. Our Kickstarter has a variety of special offers so you can send your love all the way from Kenya to your loved ones worldwide this holiday season. So share love, share tea, share Cha Kan Cha.
Okay, and from now on, I'm going to talk about GPS Lab. GPS Lab consists of students and pro bono volunteers and people with problems. And there is an entrepreneur specialist like me as a professor, and pro bono will provide subject matter expertise, and mentors also will be there to help students, because students is very inexperienced, so they need help. And through MOOC and online remote lecturing, we can get access to world's best teachers. And GPS Lab start with a problem. And actually, this is more like a gamified way. When you have a problem, we play with the problem, feel the problem, identify problem, structure the problem, write problem statement, and go up to stage 2, play with purpose, write purpose statement, find secret, build a purpose board. And stage 3, play with purpose-driven people. We build a team, we'll register the domain, and we build a purpose-driven community. And we build a MVP and play with the products. And we work together with people with the problem. We let them test it to see if it works or not. And then we get feedback and refine the product. So we do a lot of iterations. And we go up to stage 5. If it succeeds in making a product which will solve the problem, will succeed in building a business model, which means that we can solve the problem in a sustainable and scalable way. And then we build a company. Normally, other venture incubation process, they start with building a company. We don't do that. Because if you start to build a company, then you will be regulated by the law, which is very cumbersome. And also, if you fail, then there will be serious side effects. So we don't want students be in that situation, even if we fail. So when we are very sure about the success of this business, we wouldn't start a company. And so problem will be solved with the stage going up, and student level of GPS level will going up. This is kind of a game in a way. So I built this flowchart as if making a game. So we can actually gamify the whole process. And GPS Lab, what is this? What the heck is this? Actually, GPS is our basic philosophy is solving others' problem is act of love. Problem is social value. And co-creation by purpose-driven community, learning by doing, gamification company building. Through this, we want to nurture global problem solver, which is next generation of global responsible leaders. And GPS Lab, actually, I have, hang on. Okay, GPS Lab has three aspects. GPS Lab, you can say this is kind of social movement, or you can say this is research lab, or you can say educational program. Let's compare with the social movement. Social movement is a loosely organized effort by a large group of people to achieve a particular goal, typically social or political one. GPS Lab is about community action by a purpose-driven people to solve a particular problem. Social movement is social change from bottom within nations, but GPS Lab is about why not change the world. Social movement based on national citizenship, but we are based on global citizenship. Social movement is about expression of dissent. We are saying, don't complain, just do it yourself. When you see a problem, don't complain about it. Just solve the problem yourself. And social movement is frequent with violence, but we do in a peace. And social movement target people is about voters, but our target people is consumers. We want consumers to purchase our product and service, then the problem will be solved. Example is Black Lives Matter social movement. We have Check and Black, which is a Kickstarter campaign. And I want to compare GPS Lab with Langer Lab. I chose this lab because they are very successful lab, not only in terms of research findings, but also creation of companies with their research findings. And their purpose is enhancement of science technology. GPS Labs is to solve global problems. They target high impact, high risk scientific problems, but our target is global problem, which is very difficult to solve. And their viewpoint is scientists. Our viewpoint is global citizens. Their principal investigator is professor with doctorate degrees. GPS Lab is person like me, entrepreneur specialist. I don't have any doctorate degree. Lab researchers, doctoral students and postdocs working in the Langer Lab, but GPS Lab just undergrad students mostly, and some of the graduate students. The location of Langer Lab is third floor of MIT. We take a health science building. GPS Lab, there is none. We have to build one in Handong. Actually, GPS Lab is more like just a virtual world. But I hope we can build very nice lab in Handong universities. And their network is chemists, material scientists, surgeons, physicists, mathematicians, and mechanical engineers, venture capitalists, patent attorneys, and executives at large and small companies. Our network students, entrepreneurs, professors, scientists, doctors, academics, impact investors, social entrepreneurs, lawyers, accountants, and consultants. And their main collaborators, industrial partners, our collaborators are pro bono volunteers. They have research funding. Actually, we are not working with the money. They always demand, oh, I need some kind of backings, I need office, but GPS Lab doesn't ask for that kind of things. They want to solve the problem first. And then they work with the people who volunteer. So we don't need money in place before we start this project. And their endpoint is new company. They have already made about 12 companies and over 100 licensing deals. we want to create a new global value chain to make current one obsolete. Their approach is interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. Ours called transdisciplinary. We don't care what it takes. We just want to solve the problem. And their architecture is open, ours is collaboratory. And they are working from 1994, we are since 2018. And I like to really talk about this thing because I think the best university in the world is Harvard. And because they become so famous, I think because their case study. Case study is about 100 years old educational program. Actually, what case study means is they want to copy what has happened nicely before. And what has happened is this. When somebody in a situation, some kind of competing situations, and they have a very limited resources, and they made a strategy, so they increased the efficiency, and they somehow could beat the competitors, and they maximized the profit for their shareholders, and they use the advantages. And school teach students, so students can do the same thing. So what has happened after teaching case study style for 100 years? There were so many students learn how to do it, and they succeeded, and they become rich. But what has happened? The world is flushed with products that consumers don't like it. They don't really appreciate it. And so much wealth has been created, but with that, they create so many, poor people as well. And environment has been, as a victim of this success. So I think this is wrong. The way they teach students is so wrong because they are ruining this earth and they are ruining people's lives, and also people actually who succeeded in this way, I don't think they are really happy about it. I'm sure they're very rich, but I'm not sure whether they are really happy about it. So I want to teach in a very different way. This is live in action. We don't want to maximize the profit. We want to solve the problem of people. We don't want to compete against other people. We don't want to compete. We don't want to really, like a strategy is about winning a war. It's about killing people, isn't it? We want to use wisdom. We want to approach in a holistic way without hurting environment, without hurting other people's lives. I think efficiency is not really important. Relation is more important. In the same university, the Harvard University research, the longest research about happiness is actually relationship is the most important factor for the happiness of the people. But they have been teaching their students go for the efficiency. No, relation is more important. And this actually, you shouldn't teach students to taking advantage, but actually it's about giving advantage. And this is reality based, and it's only 3 years old. I hope, universities start to teach in a very different way, because if you teach their way, I think the Earth situation it's not going to improve at all. And we have some experiments going on Chakancha is the first one, and actually students working on GPS program development. Actually, the way the GPS program is I personally developed, but I want my student to help me to develop better. And Chakan Jade is about blood jade in Myanmar. And actually the secret I found is the jade can be used for industrial uses, like they can be used to replace microbead. And so actually we think we can create a sustainable jade global value chain for Kachin people, the Christian people in Myanmar. And Chakan Med, which is about turning natural product into a FDA approved medicines. But Chakancha is a project that we could do it. We have used only very low tech and no level of knowledge. But if you can join us with your advanced level of science technologies, then I think we can build so many global problems so well. So please join us to build GPS Lab together. And I hope you enjoyed this lecture or speech. And I hope you can think about how you have been learning and teaching your students, the way you've been working to develop, to find a solution for your work. But somehow, I hope you can understand that there is a different way. And I hope you can have a second thought about the way you have been operating, and you might want to join me in the future. I hope I can see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Park. I have one question, and then I believe a lot of people right now chatting to asking you a question, and then you have an email there. I believe people are going to be contact you if they have a further question. However, as an engineer, how can we actually contribute? Because the reason I'm saying that is that we have the group of people in Singapore, Engineer Without Border, and then also your activities are very well aligned with our activity of Korea Asia Society, and not just from the Africa continent problem, but Southeast Asia, there is a lot of poor country. If we employ your strategy with the different project also, that is very much feasible, I believe. I can feel that very much feasible to employ. So as an engineer or scientist, how can we contribute? For example, your example of the Chakancha project right now you're doing.
Okay. I hope you people can join Chakancha project, because this is not about one person, one group of people's work. It could be anybody's work. So if you join, this is like community. So you are more than welcome to join this community. And please join Chakancha project, and to make it work, and to prove that the hypothesis is true, you can actually create monetary value if you solve problem for others. So, okay, let's start with tea pickers. Just one example. And there are 3 million tea pickers in Kenya. And there are 27 million people in countries like Uganda, Tanzania, Sri Lanka, India, and China. So if we build a sustainable global platform to solve some of those 30 million people, we can start to go to other agricultural products, such as coffee, olive oil, sesame oil, and cashew nuts. And it can be adapted to so many different products. And we can start to look over other things, not just agricultural products. Actually, it can be anything. Any product, any service can be done in a very different way. So any people with any discipline, whether he has a doctorate degree or no degree at all, doesn't matter. There's always some work for them to do. Please join us. And also, you don't need some physical space to do it. We can meet over Zoom. We can do it. And we have a virtual space. So this virtual space is so wide. So, you know, any number of people can actually meet together in virtual space. So we can build a new world. We can change the world together.
All right, thank you very much. I believe a lot of people are gonna interested in, and then if I get the information, I will pass it to you. And then of course, also for the Engineer Without Border people, gonna be excited about, or they will think about how they can actually collaborate with your project activity and so on. Thank you very much for the this pre-recording, and then we're hoping that we can listen to you very soon. You know, without COVID pandemic, we're definitely gonna invite you again in Singapore, and then we discuss further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joe. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.